In this video, we're going to look at finding the components of a vector, given that we know the length of a vector and the direction angle of that particular vector. So in this problem, we're told that the length of this vector v is 25 units, and it also has a direction angle of 45 degrees. So I've gone ahead and drawn a representation of this vector here. So here's our angle from standard position. We know that's 45 degrees. And we also know that the length of this vector is 45 degrees. So we have, 45. Try 25. So our length is 25, and our direction angle is 45 degrees. All right, now I got it. So, if you remember what the formula said, that's great. But if you don't, all we really need to know is that our components are just the legs of a right triangle. So if I want to figure out what this leg here is, I'm going to call it x. I know that the length of my vector here is 25. So that means the length of this hypotenuse of this right triangle is 25. So if I want to find the component along the x-axis, the horizontal component of this vector, I just need to set up a trig ratio. So the cosine of 45 degrees is just the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. So my adjacent side has length x, and my hypotenuse has length 25. So my x component is just 25 times the cosine of 45 degrees. Similarly, if I want to figure out what the y component is, I'm going to set up another ratio. So let's just put a nice happy cloud around. What our x component is. Our y component, if you guys remember, trig ratios, so here's the y value. So our y value, or rather, let's set up a trig ratio first instead of going directly to the value itself. Okay, so we use the following trig ratio. The sine of theta is equal to the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. So our opposite is y, and the hypotenuse is again 25. Nothing's changed there. We can substitute in the value of theta here. So we know that the sine of 45 degrees is y over 25, and y is equal to 25 sine 45 degrees. And that deserves another happy cloud. There we go. Okay. So the vector v in component form we'll call that Cartesian form. So it's just specifying it with an x and y coordinate is cos 45 and 25 sine 45 degrees. So we can rewrite this as 25 over the root of 2 and 25 over the root of 2. Magic. Again, not too concerned that you've got radicals in the denominator. It's perfectly fine to leave it that way. If you want to use a calculator approximation, go ahead and divide 25 by the root of 2. But that's it. There's not too much to doing this sort of problem.